Alrighty, peoples. I'm getting used to using these LEDs on this phone again, so I should make more of a point of using the flash LEDs so you can actually see things. But I'm not showing this thing in my face because it dazzles me in the eyes. So I want to talk about investment. And before you click off and say, oh, this has nothing to do with me, I don't have 10 grand, I don't have jack shit to invest. Don't flame and just click off and forget about it, because if you've got about $33 or less, maybe 28 bucks a month or a fortnight or a week, you can invest and do quite well for yourself out of this little thing. Now, I don't recommend any of the annoying trolls who love, stirring shit to do this, because I don't want them to make any money. But the rest of you people, I'm going to tell you how to do all this stuff. Now, a little bit of backstory. You may have heard a few things. You may have seen the BBC documentary that I saw on China and how the whole lot's floating, and not likely to last a hell of a lot longer. The economics book that you would have seen my water heaters sitting on, and the super simple water heaters, I've been reading about what's known as the developmental state that's been used in South Korea and China to get them to the state that they are today, where the state itself invests in industry and has performance targets. And they tried it in Africa and Latin America, but they didn't have the performance targets. And then there was a lot of blooming, good old mates in Latin America who sort of, was all turned to crap in Latin America and Africa, but it's worked exceedingly well in China and South Korea. But the Chinese have gone down the same stupid path that caused the GFC in America. And property bubble, let's face it, when you got somebody who's earning $4,000 a year, you got an apartment that's the same price as an Australian one. I'm talking $300,000 for an average one, $500,000 for a rich person's one. And the people are on $4 grand a year and they want 70% down payment. I mean, get real. 70% deposit? No one's going to be able to afford this stuff. And they've got all this, they can't now afford it. And they've got all this stuff in, real estate that's, all these magical land values and price values, like the houses in Detroit that were worth, $80,000 each, and you can now buy for about $3 grand. They're going down the same path with all that. So regardless of other things, they're going to hit the deck big time over their stupid property development or their property bubble. But there's something that happened back in the days of, and this is of a documentary said by a stock trader, and you can go look it up yourself actually, the gold price before the GFC. Oh, there's plenty of cash, we're all rich, who gives a stuff, who wants gold, there's no point in it, blah, 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 blah. Holy hell, everything's fallen to bits, the market's going to hell. Oh my gosh, holy shit, we're all buggered, we're all going to die. That was the gold price. Now, the place I get my silver bullion from now this price here, this whole curve here, this was the case during September 11. This was the case during the GFC. This will be the case in the China collapse. Because if you're a smart little cookie, and you may have heard all this, really smart investors or people in the know, every time there's a big slump in something, there's a bloody killing to be made, one way or the other. Whether it's them bullshit derivatives or whatever, whether it's betting against the market, whether it's like the blokes who had the corflute plastic signs. You know how many foreclosure sale signs they made up during the GFC? They had to take more people on just to get the signs made. There was a boom in the middle of everything else collapsing for them. And if you know where to put your flaming pennies to begin with, you'll be fine in a bust. In actual fact, you'll face your money going like this in a bust. Now, the place where I get my silver bullion from, they actually closed 6 weeks before the GFC hit Australia. It hit America, but it hit Australia and froze up the credit markets in Australia pretty quick. How do I know? Because I took on a job in the construction industry pretty much on the same day they stated that the GFC had hit Australia on the front page of the paper. I finished out that job, which was only 2 weeks because they pretty much almost got to the end of that job. And the boss said, "Oh, ring me up for some more work next week. There'll be none next week, but ring me up the next week." Strung me out for a month. After a month, he said, "Look, there's no point me stringing you out anymore." He said, "Nothing's coming back." And basically, everybody who we were going to do jobs for was getting them all on bank credit. The bank has suddenly changed their mind, and now we're out of jobs. And I'm not joking, this bloke went from basically millionaire to dealing with chook shit and stuff for his cousins, to be honest. He just hit the flaming deck. Everybody got sacked. He didn't even have enough work for himself and his son, let alone have a depot in the capital and a depot down here. But, you know, this is what happened. And I went down to the silver bullion place because I used to dabble a bit in the jewellery industry. I was hoping to get going and all that, and I bought a lot of stuff and made a lot of jewellery up and whatnot, all silver and all that. And in all this, I got interested in the gold price and the silver price and stuff like that. And I went down there. Lo and behold, the place I buy silver bullion off now, they'd closed, citing that there wasn't enough money for them to do anything to barely even keep going in the gold market because their stock, the gold they had, just kept plummeting. Now, 6 weeks before the GFC, they closed. The price on the door was $800 an ounce. Just before the GFC hit Australia, it might have only been $750 an ounce. I don't know. It was bloody hopeless. 12 weeks later, it was about $1,800 an ounce. It kept going, and I think it was at least 2,200. It may have even gone a bit higher. But I know it did get to about 2,200 or 2,170 or something like that. And it was 1,800 12 weeks after it was 800 and went to that. You can make 2.5-fold your money buying into gold. But why would you want to buy into gold if you can buy into silver? Instead of going 2.5-fold, silver went crazy. It went something like 5-fold, maybe even 8-fold. I'm not 100% sure, but I was told that silver went at least 5-fold and went a darn sight better, and usually does go a darn sight better, than gold. Now, this is what happened in the GFC. This is what happened in September 11. What good is that knowledge to us? It's telling us what will happen in the China collapse. But you don't need a bucket load of money, as I said at the start, because I bought American Silver Liberty for that price. In actual fact, I could get a kilo of gold, which is 32.7 ounces, for, what was it again, it was $779 or $775 or something, and it's recently dropped to $725, you know, after about 2 months for a kilo of gold, which is basically 32.7 ounces. By the way, when you buy it in bulk like that, you get it cheaper than when you buy individual coins. But, you know, these individual coins, I think they're probably about $30. And if you're talking US dollars, you might be down to US 27 or whatever, you know. But this is the thing. You sink all money into this, and it goes 5-fold as opposed to 2.5-fold, you've done better. Furthermore, if you've only got a lousy $30 left at the end of every month, it doesn't matter. You can still buy a coin at the end of every month or every week. I'll be more like give it a month and buy 2 of these. But that's just because I've got more disposable income than most. But I'm intending to just buy into silver big time. Now, the theories are that the China collapse is going to be tenfold as bad as the GFC. I think that might be a conspiracy theorist, you know, a bit of a pretty well dreamed up extreme figure. But they could be right. It could be another depression. You know, we won't know until it hits. But we do know that if the GFC is anything to go by, it's going to be at least fivefold. And if it's worse, it's going to be more. It might be tenfold, it might be 12-fold. So I'm actually intending not to pay my mortgage, just to pay the interest on it, because I've got an interest-only loan. It's actually a commercial loan, technically. You know, just continue to pay the interest off as I need to, and sit on this until the China collapse, which is expected in 2016, but of course they always usually expect these things a bit before. I think it might be more like 27, oh no. Yeah, about 2017, 2018, something like that. But this is the whole point. If I sink my money into this, and it goes tenfold, 12-fold, I'll be able to pay my mortgage off. So if it goes fivefold, I'll be able to pay my mortgage off with $4,000 worth of you know, silver. Put in 4,000 now, and pay out 4,000 times 5 when the time comes, and just pay my mortgage off in one hit. If I pour in about 40,000 into silver, and then it goes tenfold, you know what that means, don't you? It means I'm getting a new house and paying the mortgage off. So it's just a little bit of food for thought that I want to put out to you there, and it's a path that I'm going to follow. And, you know, when you sort of think about it, like, you can take the family for takeout for this. There's, you know, been times where I've spent, oh, shit. I'll tell you, at one point there, food for lunch, I was probably going through, it was more than $75 a week. No doubt about it. Buying lunch was costing me more than $75 a week. So this is the thing. Do you want to buy takeout for the family on a Saturday night, or do you want to sort of, you know, wait till the China collapse?